Hello, this is Aoife Dean and this is the Happy Weight Podcast. So this is part 2 of 5 types of calories to cut when we want to lose weight. Or another way of saying it is if we want to downsize our body, if we want our average calorie intake to average a lighter body weight over the year, over the rest of our lives. So we're getting rid of the stuff that no longer serves purpose, that no longer deserves to take room up in our diet, take room up in our body, storing extra weight that we don't want for foods that aren't worth it. So I covered 2 really important ones on the last episode. And today I think there's 3 very important ones. The next 2 I'm going to mention are probably the most important. And the thing is that I think when someone comes across my work or dietitians or coaches similar to me, you know, it sounds like, oh, that's great crack, you know, like eat chocolate and never feel guilty. Oh, brilliant. But like ultimately, nothing changes until you change something. And, you know, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So it's not that, you know, like if we're to be like, oh, let's just eat everything and never feel guilty. Well, that's not prioritizing your body. And, you know, I get a lot of calls from people they've done the kind of intuitive eating movement. And, you know, I've never really looked into that movement at all. I'd be have a different focus, but like, you know, maybe they've misinterpreted it. I don't know. But they're like, I've done the whole thing where I've eaten whatever I wanted and not feel guilty. And something's off with that too. Like I'm not enjoying my body getting gradually bigger, or I'm not enjoying my body staying bigger than I know it kind of used to be or naturally is or whatever. And so I suppose I see things very clearly because I work with undereaters and overeaters, and I think things can be very unfair actually out there because often undereating is seen as this, you know, serious problem, but overeating you can kind of get away with and make light of it. But then I think when we're making our health and our weight our priority, it is important that not hurting your body means not hurting your body. So that means being hungry and ignoring it is as unkind as feeling full and ignoring it. It's not like feeling really hungry and not eating is so disordered and so anorexic. But if you're full as a frog and you're still stuffing stuff into your gob, that's okay. Like, I think we have to have a very different view on it. And I think why we might have that view, by the way, is if we've done diets, we think diets are being really hard on ourselves. So then going easy on ourselves is eating more. And that eating more or overeating is a kinder place to be than dieting. And I just kind of think, nah, they're just both not great. They're really both not great. And they're not really great for, you know, they're nothing to do either with them for reaching our potential. So something has to change for us to be lighter. And yeah, I'm all about us eating delicious foods, but ultimately our body would not change unless something is removed from our diet, unless our average calorie intake is dropping. We can be cool and light and positive about all these yummy foods that we do enjoy eating. But like I said, something has to go. And so this is like advanced level stuff today, really, because this is like really about increasing how conscious you are with food all the time, and conscious to the point of you're not just conscious of how stuff tastes, how stuff feels in your belly, how your belly is going to feel in 20 minutes time, but also really aware of your thoughts. Because like I said on the last episode, you actually figure out that a weight problem, it's not about what you eat, it's why you are eating it. And one thing that disappears once a weight problem is disappearing is the concept of yesterday or tomorrow disappears when you no longer have a weight problem. So let me begin with the first point of today. So the foods we need to cut out, right? Group number 1 of today's session, everything that comes after, I'll be good tomorrow. So the minute you hear the thought, I will be good tomorrow, put down your fork, put down the wrapper, put down whatever is in your hand, put it down. Because like I said, when we no longer have weight issues, tomorrow and yesterday no longer exist. We're living in the now. And if your head is coming up with something like, I'll be good tomorrow, it's like, well, what's going on here? You're clearly eating a surplus. Like if we have the thought, I'll be good tomorrow, it means that the moment is over, that the nice part of the food, the part that we were enjoying, the part that was needed, the part that was necessary, the part that was putting a good feeling in our body and our stomach is now over. Because now we're like, I know I'm going into surplus and I'm going to undo this surplus tomorrow. And the problem is tomorrow never comes. So I think it's really great. Like accountability is our superpower when we're losing weight. No more victimhood, no more blaming, shaming, any of that, all accountability. And what really like turns on your brain then, or you can tune into this way of thinking, is that, okay, considering there is no tomorrow, right? So I can't say I'll be good tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. Tomorrow and yesterday no longer exist now that I don't have a weight problem. So that means that I'm okay to pack this stuff on my body. I'm okay to potentially long-term store this food. Because what I noticed it started doing for me is I'm kind of like, nah, do you know what? The fifth one isn't worth it. Like if I'm potentially going to put on weight from that fifth one, and I don't know will I lose the weight. That's the whole thing. Like, you know, we can be certain that if we're adding in a surplus into our body, like that's for sure, we're forcing our body to store extra. But the idea that we're going to burn it off in the future, nah. That's the part you don't know. And that's the part that doesn't exist for someone with a weight problem. They're not doing these negotiations with their brain of, I'll eat more today and then burn it off tomorrow. There is no negotiation. So now radical accountability and radical honesty would be that, okay, if I'm going to overeat it, that's grand. Like, I know I'm not enjoying it. I know this is making my stomach overfull, and I'm okay. If that's going to cause extra weight, that's grand. I'm okay with that. And sometimes that has to be the case. Sometimes we're hormonal or we're in a bad place and overeating is our tool in that moment. And that's grand. Like blame and shame will never help with any of this. But like that accountability is precious because like if you have a smidgen of victim mentality, trying to lose weight, it probably won't work out. If you've a smidgen of you think things are a little unfair on you, you think that you don't deserve to be this weight, like it doesn't help. And whenever someone thinks that, oh, I don't deserve this weight, all that's happening is they're not acknowledging moments like this. They're not acknowledging these moments where we are eating something after the taste is gone or after our belly is feeling uncomfortable. We're not acknowledging those moments because we're telling ourselves stuff like, I'll be good tomorrow, and we're believing it. And that is the problem. So if you cut out that sentence from your life, I guarantee you will lose so much weight. You will lose so much weight if you never, ever, ever again in your life pretend that there's tomorrow with your eating. So you are eating now and you are feeling well, or you are knowingly forcing your body to store food. Extra weight, I mean. Like it's that simple. And when we make it that cutthroat, like I said, it's not harsh. It's actually really empowering because we never have any doubt about our weight then. If clothes are feeling tighter, if clothes aren't feeling looser, we know damn well why they're feeling tighter because we remember that moment 3 days ago where we were eating something and the moment was over and then our brain clicked in and said, oh, you'll be good tomorrow. And we continued to eat. And see, like I said, once that story is straight in your head that, you know, I said I'll be good tomorrow and I kept eating, that's what stores weight. Like it's actually really simple, but like it takes some practice kind of implementing it. Then the next one is everything that you eat after I'm fat anyways, I'll always have a weight problem. I'll always have a bit of a weight problem. I'll always be from the kind of fat side of the family. This is being in my 40s, whatever, anything like that. Okay, I'm covering a load of them now, but that kind of despondent giving in, I'm fat anyways. Because the thing is that fuel is always in transition. You are never a static weight. Your body is always metabolizing, taking in fuel, burning fuel. Your body is always in motion. You are never the finished product. So those stories really, really don't help. The I'm fat anyways is kind of like, no, like your future weight will be whatever your eating is today and tomorrow and the next day. Like, as in, there is no static. So those stories, you know, of making this an identity rather than just down to signals, because it is just down to signals. It is, our weight is just sheerly down to how often we're overeating. So then that whole wrapped up identity of I am always someone who is overweight. It's like, well, you don't need to be. You don't need to carry that caricature with you if you don't want it. Like, it is just fuel, you know? So like, actually weight is probably one of the most temporary things in your body, because it can be burnt up relatively quickly, whereas other parts of our body stay around. So the minute you hear that kind of despondent, hopeless kind of phraseology like, I'm fat anyways, catch it immediately. And by the way, for these last 2 points, you could so rationalize them. But just remember, like, rationalizing them is just say what my anorexic clients do too. Like, my anorexic clients, they'll have a very hungry belly and they will rationalize not eating. So, you know, you could hear this podcast, you could take it in, and then tonight you'll be like, but I literally am going for a big walk tomorrow. Like, I literally am going for a big walk tomorrow, or I literally am off work next week, so I'll do more cooking. You know, that's yet again, in the moment, your belly is asking you to stop and you're telling yourself some future story. And it's like, no, this is pretty cutthroat. It's like, in the moment, is your body feeling full and you are actively still putting food in your mouth? And I know this sounds so harsh and a lot of people are not going to be ready for this. A lot of people might even be offended, angry, etc. about this. I get it. Weight is a very, very sensitive issue. But equally, I kind of think we owe it to ourselves. Like, depending on how long we've been struggling with our weight, we owe it to ourselves to figure it out. And it is honestly a blessing in disguise once we realize, I'm the issue. I tell myself stories that when I'm full or when I'm not enjoying a food, I justify that. I rationalize eating more and making myself feel uncomfortable. Say, for instance, during our period or something, like, this is all very hard stuff to navigate if we have a history of dieting, because maybe if we have a history of dieting, we're used to being black and white, that you either completely deny yourself of gorgeous foods or you're off the wagon and eating everything. And now we have to kind of realize, well, neither of them are kind. Like, during your period or hormonal times or perimenopause or menopause, are kind of uncomfortable days. So you definitely deserve to do whatever the hell you can do to feel more comfortable. But more comfortable is a physical measure, not a mental measurement of I allowed myself eat whatever, because that doesn't allow us to feel physically better afterwards. So now comfort eating is whatever I can eat that will genuinely make me feel physically better afterwards. So if we're sitting on the couch and we've had a hot chocolate and we've had some minstrels and we feel really cozy, we feel like the sugar helped our body, the caffeine helped our body, the serotonin from the chocolate helped our body, and we're feeling much better, well, then we done a great job. But like, if we're on the couch and we're after a sea of processed foods all evening and now we're feeling quite manky, like our teeth are feeling manky, our belly is feeling manky, our sleep might be a bit manky, like we might be waking up feeling a bit manky, that's the part that, like, hey, let's not pretend that that's kindness. Just like I would never say to an anorexic client that them ignoring their hungry belly is kindness. It's not. And us ignoring our full belly is not kindness either. So that's two very, very strict ones. So everything that comes after, I'll be good tomorrow. Everything that comes after, I'm fat anyways. Another one maybe is like a part B of that last one, is this week's a bit of a write-off anyway. So it's like we have signals in the body that are happening in the present moment, and you're either listening to those signals or you're not. And then there's the storylines in our head. So you are never in a phase. You are only in a moment where a food would taste nice or not nice. You are only in a moment where in 20 minutes time, if you eat this, you will feel less comfortable or more comfortable. So there is no storyline there. The week has nothing to do with it. The week, the date, the location, all has nothing to do with it. You deserve to feel really, really well. And when we're banking on those external cues like, oh, this week is a bit of a write-off, all it means is that we're perpetually living in an uncomfortable state, because we get so used to dropping standards. We get so used to like, everything's a bit grey this week, but when I'm on annual leave, it will be better. When the weather is better, when the kids are, better, when the kids are off school, when my husband's at home, whatever it might be, there might be all these things that we're saying when our eating will be better, when we'll be feeling better. And all that happens from those stories is we practice a very low standard for how we feel. So now I think it's about catching those stories. So like I said, it's like something has to give. Probably, like I said, when people come across my stuff, they're like, oh, that sounds cool. Like, eat stuff and not have guilt. And it's like, yeah, well, there's around 400 asterisk terms and conditions apply as well for what you won't be eating and when you won't be eating. And we have to be conscious of that. And like I said in the first episode, this is all about us actually loving food more. Because if we remove the clutter, like say for instance, like I said, at lint ball number 5, your brain is kind of like, Yira, sure, you'll go for a big walk tomorrow. Or Yira, it's your period, so anything goes. Like the thing is, by not having lint ball number 5, you're going to feel better. And what's cool about that as well is that if you don't have this excess, it just means the time it will take for you to get hungry again will be less. So you'll be back to hungry sooner. Your taste buds will be back to maximum sensitivity sooner, meaning the time it will take for food to taste really gorgeous again will be sooner. So there's such a benefit in letting go of that part that you don't need, that part of the food that we're not eating for a physical benefit, we're eating because we've justified it by a storyline in our head. Then the next one, it's probably not as important as the last two, but I still think it bears thinking about. So foods that don't align with your values. Often I get feedback from clients that they love that generally what we're talking about and what I'm helping them with is eating whole foods, is eating proper dinners with their families. So no weirdo diet stuff, no heavily processed things. And with nutrition anyway, it always goes full circle. Like as in, there was a time where margarine was thought to be healthier. Now margarine isn't promoted at all. Like olive oil spreads are kind of okay. They are promoted with dietitians, but anything else is not. So actually a little bit of real butter is way healthier than all the super processed alternatives. And so, and like I said, if people are part of slimming clubs, there can be a lot of branded diet stuff. And in your heart of hearts, that, this isn't like a traditional whole food diet. This is processed stuff packaged in a different way. So what might really sit well with us is like, when I have crisps, I have proper crisps, or like, I'm not promoting anyone here, but like say if we've like Kyo's or O'Donnell's, or if they're local, if they're organic, if they contain like 3 ingredients, potato, oil, salt, like in a way it's real food. Or if we have like a nice dinner and custard and crumble after it, like we're eating real food all the time. I think it's such a lovely one to get right. And also the science is there too, that the most overweight countries in the world eat the most diet foods. So we want to copy slim people and the slimmest countries of the world, and they do not eat diet foods at all. And what happens then is that if you're eating real fats, if you're eating good fats, if you're not afraid of nuts, you're not afraid of avocados, you're not afraid of rice and potatoes and pasta, it's like your diet fills up with like all the carbs and all the fats that you do need. You're not desperate then for like, a load of processed stuff, because you're low on necessary fats in your body. So your body is giving you cravings, or you're low on necessary carbs. So that's something that happens. My clients like all the time. It's like, I've lost all this weight, but I'm eating like potatoes or rice or whatever every day, when before I would have avoided them and, in brackets, then binged once or twice a week. So yeah, a lot to take in there. And I hope that's helpful. Like I said, if you honestly were just so strict about those 2 ones today, if you were so strict with yourself that when you no longer have a weight problem, yesterday and tomorrow never exist. You cut out any time talking or thinking about your exercise or your eating. Yesterday, tomorrow doesn't exist. It's not real life. All that matters is right now. Like Eckhart Tolle says, your point of power is always right now. So yeah, I hope today's episode helped you. You know my website, happyweight.ie, if you need to book a follow-up, if you need to book into the Happy Weight program, if you need the hypnotherapy online course, Happy Hypno Weight, if you want to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, @HappyWeightAoife. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll chat to you on the next episode.